Hello and welcome to the second episode of Time to Talk Straight. I am Dr. Amjad Ayub Mirza. First of all, I would like you to subscribe to this new channel and share this video as widely as you can because that is crucial. Now, in my last video, I spoke about Lee Anderson, his defection from the Tory party to the Reform UK party, and I tried to explain why is it an important development in British politics. But today I want to talk to you about the growing threat of sectarianism in our society, in the British society. Before I go any further, now we have a black First Minister in Wales as well, Warren Gattin. And this gentleman is not elected by the public of Wales. He has made his way to the top the same way as the Scottish First Minister Hamza Yusuf has made his way to the top. This gentleman who has become the First Minister of Wales is being accused of receiving £200,000 of donation for his campaign from a convict. And the convict was, he has committed environmental offences, but the new First Minister of Wales, Mr. Gattin, is not willing to pay the £200,000 of donation back to this convict. So anyway, now all over Britain we have people of color and different ethnic backgrounds who are running the affairs of Great Britain. Some call it an irony, some call it what goes round comes round, all sorts of, things you hear now about this development. We have the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, who is of Pakistani descent. We have the Prime Minister of Britain, Rishi Sunak, who is of Indian descent. We have the First Minister of Scotland, who is of Pakistani descent, and now we have a black person as our First Minister in Wales. So this is alarming, not because they are people of color, but because Rishi Sunak, Hamza Yusuf, and Mr. Gattin are not elected by the public of Britain. They have sneaked through the cleavages of our system like a worm and made their way to the top. But today I want to talk to you about the danger that we face as a society of sectarianism. And believe it or not, there are vested interest groups to whose interest Britain being sectarian would serve rightly. Now, I want to talk to you about this Islamophobia. Well, since the word is now part of our everyday vocabulary, we have to think about Islamophobia. But before that, let me remind you that the majority of Muslims or any other faith are peace-loving people. They do their job 9 to 5 or night shifts or whatever. They do not bother about converting other people into their faith. They just want a peaceful life, bring up their children, go on holiday, and that's it. They have nothing whatsoever to do with extremism. In Islam, especially in Britain, I want us to differentiate between Muslims and Islamists. And this is my definition of an Islamist. An Islamist is a person who wants to impose the laws, medieval laws of Sharia by force, through intrigue, through conspiracy, no matter what method there is available for them to choose, even violence, even harassment, they will choose it. They have an agenda. And why do they have an agenda? Because they are proxies of forces that want to bring Britain down. Foreign forces. Now, Islam has got 5 pillars. And if a common Muslim, British Muslim, abides by them, there is no issue, there is no problem in society. One is that their belief that God is one and Muhammad was his last prophet. Well, I think there is a general consensus about that among all Abrahamic religions, that there is no other prophet that has come after Muhammad. Everybody agrees that after Muhammad, the final prophet will come, and then we will, head for judgment day or whatever. But there is a consensus that after Muhammad, there is no prophet. So fine, I have no problem with that. The second is namaz, praying 5 times a day. Well, if you pray 5 times a day in your house or in a designated area, nobody has any problem. The problem arises when the Islamists provoke these Muslims as their duty to block a road or a street and pray and cause issues for traffic, cause issues for pedestrians, so that there is antagonism, so that they can generate this antagonism into the favor of the Islamists and then play the victimhood card. So that is another separate discussion that we should have. But first is the belief that God is one and Muhammad is his last prophet. The second is namaz. The third is roza, fasting in the month of Ramadan. This is the month of Ramadan. Muslims are fasting, that's fine. And then there is zakat, charity. 2.5% of your earning you have to give in charity once a year. That's fine. That doesn't bother anyone. And the final is Hajj, to go on a pilgrimage to Mecca. These are the 5 pillars of Islam, as they call them. None of them talks about jihad, converting the rest of the non-Muslim community into Muslims. So we must understand that the Muslims who stick to the 5 pillars of Islam, that's fine. But when they are as a community being manipulated in a society that gives everyone equal opportunities, it's diverse, it's multicultural, that's when the problem arises. Now, to give you an example, Hamza Yusuf talks about Gaza more Then he talks about the issues facing Scotland. He's more concerned about Gaza. He has failed to reclaim our streets from these extremists who are using simple people who want a better future for their life, and they've enticed them in different ideologies. Can you believe it that the Islamists and the socialists, the communists, even the Trotskyites are on one page now in Scotland? They're on one page. I want to show you this video that I made on Saturday in Glasgow. Have a look and have a think about it, and then we continue our discussion.
1, 2, 3, 4. Occupation no more. Occupation no more. Israel is a terrorist state.
So here's the thing. This is happening every Saturday when people come to the high street, city center for shopping. They bring their families for tea or coffee, or they want to take their family to a restaurant, and then this is happening. I call this street violence. This is violence. Because you are marching, you are disrupting the normality of Saturday. You are causing loss for businesses. You are instilling fear in people that we are not going to go out on Saturday because there will be a march. Because this is happening every Saturday. So when at the time of Soviet Union and when China was communist, they have invested heavily at the time in their proxies in Europe. Heavily. And I wouldn't be surprised that in the Trotskyite movement itself, Western intelligence agencies, including the CIA, has also invested. Because Trotskyite trend or tendency was the best tool to defame Soviet Union, Stalin and all the rest. So the Russians, the Soviets were also financing and funding and encouraging communist parties and left-wing organizations and civil organizations in Britain. At the same time, the Trotskyite organizations were also being looked after by various Western intelligence agencies through different means. So here's the thing. How to fight sectarianism and how to save Britain from being cut in pieces, in sections, and turn British society into a fragmented and broken society. So the first thing, we have to distinguish between normal Muslims and Islamists. Now, once that is done, then we should encourage the Muslim community in Britain to vote for the parties who have the courage to call a spade a spade. We have to have the courage to call for a ban on Islamic faith schools, madrasas. We can't have parallel education systems in this country. There should be a check on the mosques. What sermons are being delivered in the mosques? In Glasgow, what kind of sermons are being given? They are bombarded with Gaza, 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 Gaza. Why can't the imam or the mullah on a Friday congregation talk about issues related to Glasgow? That was the purpose of call for prayers. Every Friday when a community comes and gathers, the imam talks about their issues, about their problems. All the income that the mosques receive through charity every Friday and on Eid and all of that must be audited by third party to see where the money is coming from and then where is it going. I have some cuttings here from Glasgow's newspaper, Glasgow Times, and it talks about care workers set for strike action. Care workers across Renfrewshire are set to strike for 2 days next month, which is April. GMB Scotland members have voted overwhelmingly in support of industrial action, and the union has now served notice to the council. And they are saying that it used to be a good job and I was proud to do it, but we are being expected to do more and more while our pay isn't keeping up with the cost of living. Why is there not protest on Saturdays for these care workers, which is our local issue, very serious issue of Scotland about care workers? Islamophobia is encouraged by Islamists so that the Muslim community as a community can be labeled as terrorists, as fifth columnists, and then the Muslim community in Britain feels solace and comfort with the Islamists, and they look towards the Islamists as their brothers, as their representatives. This is vile, this is wrong, this shouldn't be happening. Now the Muslim community must, number one, adhere to the law of the country, the state they live in, and must assimilate into this society. They must study and learn the traditions of this society. And by assimilation, I don't mean that they give up their beliefs and their religion. Assimilation means a fusion of cultures, a fusion of traditions. Let me know what you think about today's video and if there are any issues that you want me to bring. But I think it's time to talk straight about how are we going to tackle Islamists and not allow them or give them ground for sectarian politics, which Labour does. And now the Tories are following the Labour in sectarian politics. And save Britain. Let's do it. Let's do it. Thank you for watching.